and welcome to this meeting of Cabinet here at County Hall in Morpeth on the 12th of November. I'll move straight into the agenda. Apologies for absence. I have from Councillors Sanderson and Councillors Proshai. And any others? No? Everybody's present. Minutes of the last meeting. Can I propose that those meeting minutes are a true record? Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Watson. Thank you very much. Can we all agree that? Agreed. Thank you very much. Disclosure of members' interests is item 3. Does anybody have any additional disclosure of members' interests additional to those that were already lodged with the monitoring officer? No. Okay, thank you. We'll go straight on then to item 4, which is a paper from myself regarding the Northumberland Growth and Investment Endowment Fund and Framework, which we're abbreviating to the GIF for ease. And so that's what I will be referring to when I use that abbreviation. So this is something that's come out of the work that we've been doing at Camas, where we've got huge investment coming into the county from Blackstone QTS. We secured that back in May, as colleagues and members of the public watching will remember. For those of you that are maybe not familiar with the deal, it's an absolutely fantastic thing that's happening here in Northumberland. £10 billion being invested by Blackstone QTS in an AI and data centre complex, and then as they go through that process, there'll likely be another £5 to £10 billion invested by their tenants who will be using the site, and those tenants are typically the likes of Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Meta, giving potentially a total investment of up to £20 billion in this county, which is an absolutely fantastic achievement. And it's such good news indeed that the Prime Minister, as some of you will be aware, has tried to take credit for it twice already. He may be on for the hat-trick, but very much it was done here by Northumberland County Council, and I'm hugely grateful to all of the officers and the Cabinet and the Leader for their assistance in making sure that we got that investment here. But this document isn't about that investment per se. This is about the £110 million that the council managed to secure as part of that to be paid to the council in order to release the site for use. So not only do we get this fantastic investment, but we also get some money to spend in addition on creating the platform for more jobs and investment here in the county. So this report complements a report that we saw earlier in the year and underpins how this money will be spent in the future. And so what we're very clear about in terms of these funds are that it won't be spent on council every day. The council is making a drive for value for money through the BEST programme, and we're able to live within our means. This is going to be entirely focused on creating jobs and investment and making sure that Northumberland residents benefit from that. And in this report, you'll see how we're going to some of the themes in terms of how we're going to spend this. So we're looking at increased economic activity, improved productivity and improved wage levels for residents, improvements in economic growth, creating more and better jobs, increases in business competitiveness and sustainability and productivity, enhanced placemaking and connectivity around the county, and unlocking partnership and collaboration between the public and the private sector. So how will we achieve those things, and what do we need to make sure that we're successful in this? A large part of that's going to be making sure that we've got enough land available for development. The QTS Blackstone deal uses a large amount of employment and potential inward investment land, so we're going to acquire more land where we're able and make sure that those sites are ready for use. So that means making sure that they have, for example, the grid connections, the infrastructure connections, road, and so on and so forth. We're also going to be making sure that we invest in our commercial property so that we have places where new businesses can establish themselves and set up, and a whole host of other things that come into this programme as it evolves. We will have a further paper that comes to Cabinet in the new year in relation to this, but the analysis that we've had done by officer teams and people who are working with us shows that if we get this right, we'll be able to create 5,500 full-time equivalent jobs within the next 20 years. That will generate £865 million in terms of gross value added. So for every pound that we're investing as part of the GIF, we're getting an extra £7.50 leveraged from other sources, whether that's the public or private sector. We're anticipating at the end of this process that we'll have an additional 19 hectares of land in use in terms of job creation and inward investment, and we will have created as well 5,000 or so jobs in the construction industry as we go through that process. And by the end of that time, we will have also created benefit to 300 or so businesses across the county. There's a huge amount more that we could say about this, but you will see more of that in due course. And so with that, there are a hefty set of recommendations in the report which I'm happy to propose, and I look for a seconder on that. Councillor Patterson, thank you very much. Does anybody in the Cabinet have any questions or comments that they might wish to add to this report? Councillor Watson.
I would just make a comment that the amount of business and the amount of jobs that you're talking about, Chair, is absolutely fantastic. And it's amazing for this county that we've managed to get all this lined up. It's going to be a revelation, I think, to us in the next few years. And well done to everybody concerned.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. It is a staggering. It's difficult to comprehend the scale of what's going to go on here, but it is. The Blackstone QTS deal is a fantastic deal for the county, and then all of this added benefit, in addition, is really going to drive change and make sure that that we've fulfilled two of those key pledges that the leader talks about very frequently, about tackling inequalities, making sure that we're getting people economically active and boosting jobs and job creation, two key platforms of everything that we do. So on that, is everyone happy to agree the recommendations of the report and allow this one to move forward? Thank you very much, everybody. Right, the next one is another one that I'm going to be covering, and that is funds for the active travel corridors, one between Hexham and Corbridge and one that runs through the Bedlington area. I will be a little bit shorter on this one. This is £16 million of investment in cycling and walking in these two areas, £9 million being spent in the Bedlington area and £7 million in the Corbridge area. And these are funds that we have managed to secure from national government. For the most part, £14 million of that is coming from the Levelling Up agenda and was negotiated during the last government, signed off now with the current government. Very happy to provide an additional £2 million of investment from NCC in order to secure that very significant amount of funds coming from outside the county. Just to explain, because I do get a lot of questions online and from other places, this isn't money where we could spend it on anything else. This is money that is ring-fenced by national government for cycling and walking. So if it's to come to Northumberland, it gets spent on that. And if it doesn't come to Northumberland, it gets spent somewhere else. And so this is a fantastic opportunity to get that funding into the county. These plans, both of them, have been extensively discussed both with local ward members and key stakeholders in those areas. There's been some really important feedback on both of them to make sure that they're optimised and that we're getting them right once we move towards the implementation stage. Very grateful to everybody who's provided feedback on those to make sure that the officer team get the best and most optimised route for these two two cycleways. And so with that, I'm happy to propose the recommendations, which again are quite lengthy and included in the agenda pack. Is there anyone who would like to pass comment on that before I ask for someone to second it? Not seeing any comment. Can I have a seconder, please, for the proposal? Councillor Jones, can we move those recommendations as agreed? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Now, that takes us on to the next item in the agenda, which is item 6 we're on to, and this is the new capital proposals that have been put forward from the Capital Strategy Working Group. There are a whole host of proposals in here. What I'll do is we'll talk about each one individually as necessary, and then we will move the recommendations to approve them all at the end. The first one is reflects improvements to the highway, and specifically this is accepting Section 106 money for Cramlington, linked with the development of the southwest sector in Cramlington. And I'll ask Councillor Riddle, do you have anything, this is your portfolio, do you have anything that you'd like to say on this one?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, this is Section 106 money, as you mentioned, resulting from the quite large development of 1,600 or so dwellings in the Cramlington southwest sector. Initially, the agreement was to secure £570,000 in total. Back last year, I think. Even earlier, we actually approved the bulk of this money, which is £383,000, was approved by Cabinet and added to the Highways Capital Programme. Much of that work is underway and been completed. This is asking us to consider a capital spend of £141,000, and this is primarily to do with the fact that it was deemed necessary that we accommodated the extra pedestrians and cyclists that are generated from this development, and of course encourage cycling and walking, which we're all very keen on. The budget for this is fixed, so the work will have to be done within that amount of money, and it is proposed that £92,000 of that will be used to widen and improve lighting on the footway and cycle track that runs east-west between Beacon Lane and Linsdale Walk. And then there's another £49,000, I think, to provide additional lighting to the existing footway and cycle track at Linsdale Walk on the other section. And I think that's the nub of the report.
Thank you, Councillor Riddle. I know that this is something that's very strongly supported by the local ward member. Barry Fluxy was delighted to see this progress being made. I know that residents in that new estate are keen to see a lot of improvements to footways. They're a bit out on a limb on that part of Cramlington at the moment, and hopefully this will all work to see them better connected with the town that I'm sure that they're very happy to have moved to in that new development. Any questions on that one from other members of the Cabinet? No. That takes us on to the second on the list, which is Woodhorn Structural Works. And this is something that we have seen come to Cabinet before, so probably we don't need to do a huge amount of talking on this one. Woodhorn's an incredibly important asset for our council, for our residents, very much valued and telling the story of Northumberland, and in particular South East Northumberland. Councillor Watson, do you have anything that you feel you want to add to this? I know that we don't need to go into a huge amount of detail on this one.
No, thank you. I think you've said it all. We have approved this in the past. It's really just now delegating the authority to do the contracts to have it done. It's a complicated job. It's taken some time to come to fruition, but it's well worth doing as part of our cultural heritage on this listed building. That's all I have to say on that one.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. And yes, we're very pleased to be making this investment, as I say. The next one is Great Northumberland Forest, and this is additional funding. And this, again, it's great that Northumberland so often is in this position to be able to accept additional funding from outside because we go and make the case for our county to get this investment from government. So this is not our taxpayer money that is coming in from council tax and so on that's gathered by NCC. This is funding from DEFRA that we have managed to secure for additional planting in the Great Northumberland Forest. There's £655,000, £0.655 million, that we'll spent, and at least part of this is covering recovery from Storm Arwen. We lost so many trees in Storm Arwen, but this will go a long way to helping us to recover from that horrific event for the county this many years on, and part of a great scheme. The Great Northumberland Forest is nationally recognised in terms of the work that's being done. There's a whole host of stuff, if you haven't read about it and you're watching at home on YouTube or seeing this later on, go along onto the council website and have a look at some of that work. It really is well worth a read. Does anybody have any questions from the Cabinet on it? I know that you're all very, very familiar with this work. No. The next one is Stakeford Depot Rapid Recharge Installation, and I'm going to go to Councillor Riddle for some brief comments perhaps on this one. Over to you, John.
Thank you. Yes, this is obviously part of our climate change agenda and decarbonisation. We already have, I think, 20 slow chargers at the Stakeford Depot, which are used primarily to service and recharge 42 of our vans. You know, we have a target to replace 142 diesel panel vans by 2028, and obviously we need more chargers, and we need to be able to charge some of the vehicles much more quickly. So this report is asking for approval to spend money to install an additional 3 50 kilowatt rapid chargers. The other ones are just 7 kilowatts, so that gives you a magnitude of the difference in these chargers. But it is really necessary to have an efficient fleet and everything ready to go.
Thank you, John. This is a great addition to the depot. I know that I have an electric car, as you know. They're fantastic when you're going down the services now and you plug into one of these rapid chargers. It's such a difference compared to those slow ones in terms of the time that it's taken. So I'm sure this will be a fantastic addition to the depot, and the crews there will be very pleased to have this investment. And it, of course, does help you a great deal in terms of costs because diesel and petrol is only going to get more and more expensive. This is a way that in the longer term, not only can we reduce our dependency on fossil fuels, but we can actually save some cash for hard-pressed ratepayers as well. So a good project there for everybody involved. The next one is another one, John, I'll look to you on electric vehicle charging infrastructure on number 5 here.
Yes, thank you. This one is to make a central replacement of our public EV charging points. You know, we were probably one of the earlier councils to install lots of these charge points, but there is now what they call an open charge point protocol, and many of our chargers require you to actually log onto an app, etc., etc. So this would make it much easier for the public. Currently, about a third of the emissions in Northumberland come from road transport. We own and operate approximately 300 charge points across Northumberland, so we have quite a good spread of them. However, some of these chargers are now, you know, more than 10 years old and create challenges to customers, as I've just said, because of the need to log on to new apps, etc. So, you know, I thoroughly endorse this one. This is moving forward, making it easier for the public and better for everyone.
Thanks again, John. And it is really important that we've got these now across the whole county. It makes there's no way that some communities in Northumberland can live without a car. There are very few places, in fact, probably where you can manage without a car. So having this infrastructure in place as we do move forward to a future without fossil fuels is critically important for residents, and this looks like a great piece of work. Thank you. Any questions at all? Councillor Stewart.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Chair. Some people may be sceptical about them. They're now part of the everyday life, and in towns it supports local businesses, local shops, including in Prydda, I've got to say, which have been welcomed there. It's also helping tourism, and people are now facing some issues at home with their fuel costs, accessibility. They can't, in certain people I speak to, they can't have chargers directly outside the houses, so they really appreciate the chargers which are out there, and delighted that we're upgrading them.
Thank you, Councillor Stewart. No cabinet would be complete without a mention of Prydda. Thank you. Right, okay, so moving on. Amble Husk Bungalows, and that's going to be Colin Horncastle. Over to you, Colin.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, the Amble Husk Bungalows, been asked here, £2.668 million to develop 13 two-bedroom homes and one one-bedroom home. Sounds a lot, but it works out at about £190,000 per unit. So, what is a Husk bungalow? Well, a Husk is a product that's actually manufactured off-site and is brought onto these redundant garage sites, a number of sites in Amble here, who went through planning earlier this year. And it's an absolutely... I didn't know what it was till I went to visit it. I went to visit a Husk site in North Shields and in Newcastle, and it's an absolutely wonderful product. I've spoken to the tenants that are in them, and they are absolutely first-rate buildings. They meet all the up-to-date energy efficiency, the power's zero carbon produced, and it's in the position actually in Amble, right in the heart of our council housing stock anyway, so it's going to be easy for us to service and maintain it when the tenants move in. It's an absolutely great addition to our affordable housing stock, so I fully support this scheme.
Thank you very much. Colin and I went on that visit with you, along I think with Councillor Thorne, and they were really impressive, and it was nice to speak to the residents who were living in those houses, particularly I think I remember speaking to the ones over in Newcastle up towards Throckley, I think it was, wasn't it? And just how pleased they were with the actual product, and that you don't often get that when you've got people moving into a new building. There's all sorts of snags and problems and so on and so forth. There was none of that. It was really, really good to hear, and look forward to these getting on the ground, constructed, and people moving into them. The next one is... oh, sorry, yes, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm far too enthusiastic on this one. Jeff, over to you for some comments.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to welcome these bungalows into Amble. These garages that the council owned were somewhat dilapidated and not being used very well. So to get homes which have been really in short supply in Amble for some time, there's lots of building, there's lots of S106 money and affordable homes being built, but not small ones like this. So it's really good that we're able to do this to satisfy an existing need, and I believe a lot of the money comes from grants anyway, so I welcome this wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Jeff. The next one is investment in our in two locations in public toilets, and I think it's going to be Councillor Riddle, is it, that's going to talk about this one?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is for 3 public toilets. It's for Haltwhistle and 2 in Amble area. It is £152,000, and it's funded. We've got some money from the Property Stewardship Fund, and then about 70,000 from our Public Toilet Refurbishment Fund. As you know, we've got, I think, 56 public toilets throughout the county, and you know, we need to keep them in good repair, and we know how important they are to both the public and to visitors alike. And unlike many councils, we've been investing in toilets and not closing them. So, you know, I hope the public do appreciate that. Really, the other thing I would like to say is that, you know, that this work is to a high standard, and some of the additional aspirations are being met from some contributions from local members as well, from their small schemes fund. And with that, conclude the report.
Thank you, John. So no, this is great to see this investment to popular locations in terms of tourists. I was up in Haltwhistle the other day, and there's lots of things that we're planning to do in Haltwhistle. This is going to be an important one. And Amble, ever popular on the coast, a fantastic place to visit, and soon, hopefully, a fantastic place to make a visit to these public toilets if you need to. Jeff, I'm sure you've got some comment.
Most of it's been said. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I would just like to add that the town councils involved, both Haltwhistle and Amble, have been working well with the county council to come up with a solution to these toilets and these popular visitor destinations. And I'm very pleased with the outcome. I think we're going to see some contributions from the town councils towards them as well, which is great cooperation between us. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff, and you've certainly made the case for that investment. And Councillor Ian Hutchinson, the same up in Haltwhistle. This is something that you've both pushed, and it's great to see that persistence rewarded with this investment. So that brings us to the end of the report. I am happy to propose the recommendations on block, agreeing all of the various recommendations for each part of the report. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Riddle, thank you very much. Are we all in agreement? Yes, thank you, including Councillor Renner-Thompson. Last one to raise his hand, but the most enthusiastic. Thank you, Guy. Right, that takes us on to item 7, and you'll be pleased of a rest of my voice. We're going to go to Councillor Watson, who's going to talk us through this one.
Thank you. This is a very simple recommendation that we're asking Cabinet to approve this morning. Basically, Visit Northumberland have been working with Northumberland County Council for a long time. There's a new way of working as part of our best structures that we're looking to do to improve efficiency of our teams. We are transferring 5 roles across to NCC. There is no redundancies. There is no extra cost. It is just a better way of dealing with our visitors and our destination plans, and avoids possible accreditation difficulties in the future. I thoroughly recommend this. Everybody's been consulted, everybody's happy about it, and it's just the right, most efficient way to handle our tourism.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm happy to second that. And the team have done a fantastic job. In all the time that I've been a councillor since 2017, the performance of the council in terms of tourist visitors, the quality of attractions and promotion and everything that's gone on in this space is just gotten better and better. We've won accolade after accolade. We love visitors coming to Northumberland. Sometimes we wonder how we can deal with all of them, but that's a wholly different matter. But very, very pleased to see these members of the team come across into NCC and support this. And I'm sure that everything will go from strength to strength in this part of the council. Are we all happy to agree to recommendations? Yes, thank you very much. That moves us on to item 8, which is about procurement of food waste collection vehicles. And who's taking this one? This is Councillor Horncastle. Over to you, Con.
Thank you very much. Yes, the procurement of the food waste collection vehicles. The purpose of the report is to inform the Cabinet of the Government's requirements to provide all households in Northumberland with a weekly food waste collection by the 1st of April 2026, and request the Cabinet approve the release of the new burdens capital funding already received by DEFRA on our behalf. So, we are going to have to provide a food collection service by 1st April 2026, and to do that we need special different vehicles to what we've got now, the smaller 7.5 tonne vehicles, and it's obviously going to have a massive cost to the council, which is why the previous government recognised that local authorities would require new burdens funding in order to roll out and deliver these additional collection services. And DEFRA has committed to provide the following fund streams, both capital and revenue. However, that sounds very good, except there are a few complications to this, in that the formula that DEFRA used does not exactly suit our layout of our county geographically. Not just us, other local authorities have the same problem. And the funding that they've come up with, the new burdens funding, is 2.9, just over 2.9 million, whereas our modelling shows that it should be 4.5 million, so that's 1.6 million short. We've appealed, but we've got no word back on the appeal situation yet. Other local authorities with similar geographical situations have appealed too. So anyway, we've got to get on with it, and the problem we've got is that there's going to be roughly 1,500 of these vehicles needed throughout the country, and we're going to need 15. Well, that's all the funding that goes to 15. And because there's such a small number of manufacturers and suppliers, we've actually got to, would rather be at the front of the queue rather than at the end of the queue, because we must have these vehicles by the start of April 2026. So, like I say, until we get the funding appeal sorted out, we will not be able to do a food waste collection from every home in Northumberland. We will only be able to do 80,000 houses, which is mostly the southeast of the county, and perhaps in one or two of the larger towns. But we can only spend what we're given, and what we're given will not allow us to do the whole county. I think, talking to officers, we've got a get out of jail clause, so to speak, that we will not be penalised in any form for not being able to roll out through the full county. But all I can say is that we've got to get on with it, so I'll go straight to the recommendations, which I will propose. On page 74.
Thank you, Colin. Happy to second those. I think that this is a great start in terms of the work that we're going to need to do to deliver this service. It is going to be a complicated service for Northumberland. It's not going to be the same as inner city London or inner city Newcastle, where you've got lots of properties close together, where you've got rural parts of our county and you're going miles along country roads to pick up what might well be a very modest waste, or you get there and there's no waste put out. This is going to be a big task for us, and that's why we probably need more vehicles than as was anticipated by central government, and we'll make the case strongly, as we always do, for the funding that we feel that we require, and are very grateful to the officer team and to yourself that you're pushing that case. We'll continue to do so, and we'll continue to push our MPs to try and work with us to secure that funding as well, and we'll send them a briefing note on that. But nonetheless, a good start and progress in the right direction, and good that we're thinking about making sure that we're getting in the queue for those vehicles, because there is going to be a rush, no doubt, as other councils grapple with this issue. So, we've got the recommendations proposed and seconded. Can we agree those as agreed? Thank you very much indeed, everybody. That moves us on to, this is the increasingly becoming the Colin show at the end of this agenda. Back to you for Warm Homes and Social Housing Fund and local grant programmes. Colin.
Thank you, Chair. Right, the Warm Homes Social Housing Fund Wave 3 and Warm Homes Local Grant Programmes. This is quite a long, very complicated report and takes quite a bit of understanding. But what it does mean is that if we agree this today, a massive investment into this county of about £30 million and 900 homes for each of these two programmes will be brought up to EPC spec. So, what's it about? The government has targets that all fuel-poor homes should have EPC by 2030. And let's face it, that's not far away. And we'll shortly consult on proposals for all private and social rented homes to achieve the Energy Performance Certificate C or equivalent by 2030. So what we've got here is just two different funding programmes. There's the Warm Homes Local Grant, and this will provide grant funding to tackle fuel poverty in owner-occupied and privately rented homes to meet the statutory fuel carbon emissions. And the other funding stream is the Warm Homes Social Housing Fund, and that will provide grant funding to upgrade a significant amount of the social housing stock to meet the Energy Performance Certificate. And that actually would apply to our 8,500 houses that we've got. So, if I go to the Warm Homes one first, the Warm Homes Local Grant Scheme provides grant funding to tackle fuel poverty in owner-occupied and privately rented homes. The grant will fully fund eligible measures for qualifying owner-occupiers. The grant is fully fund eligible in one privately rented property per landlord with a 50% co-funding requirements from private landlords for additional properties. So basically, a private landlord will get 100%, but if he's got more than one property, he'll get 50% after that. It is anticipated that the council will be allocated funding of approximately 15.5 million to deliver approximately 300 homes per year. That's 900 in total over the life of the scheme. And as you can imagine, this is probably the best and easiest way to help people in any sort of homes, whether our homes or privately rented homes, to actually increase the energy efficiency, insulation, draft proofing, and help with the fuel poverty. So, under this scheme, all heating type of fuels will be considered. Both on and off gas grid homes are eligible. There is some specific criteria in mind that the gross annual household income, so it's means tested, has got to be £36,000 or less. So that's that scheme that we bring in. If we consider this today and agree to it, that would bring in £15.5 million that people in the private sector can apply to us to increase the energy efficiency of their homes. Now go on to the second scheme, the Social Housing Fund wave. The council, us, we face a significant challenge and cost to improve the energy efficiency of our social housing stock to a minimum of EPC by 2030. The council has EPCs for 25% of the stock and have model figures that suggest there are around 2,300 homes that are below the EPC C requirement. So, it's important that, if we go ahead with this, that it would be a massive help to, because we've got the rolling maintenance programme anyway in our house, where we do the electricals, the stoves, kitchens and bathrooms, but this is something extra that we really need. So, but there's a risk to the delivery of the proposed social housing fund and the retrofitting programme, and that is the retention of our council's existing warmer home staff who would be required to deliver the project. Because except for the team manager, who is a permanent staff member, on secondment from the climate change team. The rest of the team are on fixed term contracts which are due to expire next April. So to mitigate this risk, the key delivery risk, the Warmer Home staff will be given a 3-month extension to their fixed term contract at a cost of £130,000 to encourage staff to stay, because they need somebody to carry the work out. So the proposed scale of the grant application is 15.6 million bid, but that would require £7 million coming from our housing revenue account. But it's pretty good value for money. Spend 7 and get another 8 in exchange. So, like I say, it's a long, heavy report. I'm not intend to go through it much further because you've all read the report, hopefully. So, again, it gets slightly more complicated about how do you actually apply for these funds, for these grants, which is the preferred application route. There's either the challenge fund route, which is more or less go it alone, or there's a go with a regional consortium bid, which is what the proposed, what we are proposing that we actually do. So that's it, Chair. But I will say that it would be if we agreed to both these schemes today. Each scheme will deliver over 3 years improvements to 900 homes, a £30 million inward investment, and so I'd thoroughly support it.
Thank you, Colin, it is a very detailed report. Thank you for going through all of it. I'm happy to second the recommendations, and I'll go to Councillor Jones, who I believe had some comments that she wished to make.
Thank you. Looking at good housing and warm housing, the Health and Wellbeing Board identified good housing as one of the building blocks of living well. And this work here provides in providing warm homes for our residents is really a component of the of our plan for tackling inequalities. So I'm really pleased to support it. That's it.
Thank you very much. I just touch briefly on a couple of bits. I mean, it is again a testament to all of the work that the officer team do that we're able to secure such a significant potential grant from government with this £7 million worth of match that we would put in from the housing revenue account. It'll make a significant change to our housing stock. It'll be a massive benefit for our residents, our tenants, and so that's incredibly welcome. In terms of the warm homes and so on, the team there do a really, really brilliant job at helping to get grants in for people. They were down, for example, in the Morpeth Forum drop-in session the other day. I was having a chat with them. They were desperately keen that we secured more funds, not just so that they continue with their roles, because those roles would otherwise have come to an end if we didn't secure that fund, but because they so enjoy the work that they do with our communities, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. They're so dedicated, and I'm very grateful for the endless numbers of glowing reports that I get from people who are now in warmer homes and with much reduced energy bills as a result of the work that's been done by our officer team and our council. So thank you for that.
Chair,
do you have an additional comment? Yes.
If I come back, there's 2 important points I actually have got to put in. Under the recommendations, recommendations A to E is for the Social Housing Fund. There's a deadline for that at the 25th of November, so we haven't got much time. So if we don't agree with this today, we'll not be able to revisit it again. And for the local grants, the deadline for that is the 1st of December. So again, we haven't got much time there, and I think that's critically important.
Yeah, and we'll be making sure that we meet those deadlines. And you mentioned a bit about, and we could have gone on an awful lot more about some of this, but about how people can qualify, what the criteria are, and so on. There will be a huge piece that we've done before, but just for the avoidance of doubt, we'll be doing a lot in press, in stuff online, on Facebook, on every media channel that we have available. to us to make sure that we get the word out there and that people understand that they can connect with this scheme and understand the potential benefits and savings that it would provide them. So thank you. And with that, I'll ask just that everybody is agreed in the recommendations, and they are. Thank you very much indeed. That takes us on to item 10, which is market testing arrangements for the sale of electricity from our integrated waste management contract, our Energy from Waste scheme, which is where which is part of what we do with much of our refuse. It goes to generate energy from waste. Due to the nature of the recommendations in the report, there are some that, because of their contractual nature with a commercial other party, that we'll need to move into closed session in order to discuss those. So I propose that we park the rest of the discussion on that topic, and I will move on to item 11, therefore, which is urgent business, of which I have not been advised there is any. And so with that, I'll go on in turn to item 12, which is exclusion of the press and public. So at this stage, we wish everybody who joined us on YouTube the best for the rest of their day. And with that, if